declared to go first. We have the handshake, and here we go for duel number 1.
Definitely a historic Yu-Gi-Oh moment for Jim. First time on the featured match stage here, the semifinals. That's a pretty good start to a great dueling career.
All right, we're in our main phase. We're going to be activating... Oh, no, in draw phase, we're going to be activating Mitsurugi. Did he say in draw phase for that?
I didn't catch it. Looks like we may be in main phase based on what's indicated on the screen there, but I guess we shall see.
It's maybe unimportant, but it just depends on if he wants to... If we see a Droll and Lockbird come down, we'll know.
Droll and Lockbird, definitely such a powerful card. Works against so many different decks, but I feel like Mitsurugi is definitely the biggest victim of the Droll and Lockbird.
Yeah, it definitely can be, for sure. This deck adds a lot, as we saw in Charlie's first match against Steven Santoli.
Now let's see where Charlie's going straight into the Habakiri and then bringing back the Saji.
Yep, paying that 800 life points because we did trigger. We got to use both effects.
Charlie had a few hiccups earlier, but probably has ironed out his mechanics since then. Taking a look just briefly into Jim's hand, I think I caught a Molcharmi Meowls in the main deck. Great option for sure in this format.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting choice. I imagine he was expecting to play against a lot of Malice throughout day 1 and day 2, and that card came in handy.
Waka Waka, because it's a hand. Ah, that's funny, that's funny.
Love it.
All right, we got Yu-Gi-Oh jokes, but we also got Yu-Gi-Oh plays here, so... Do you see those Molcharmis? I guess he's holding on to them, not ready to activate them. Maybe doesn't want to get hit by a Triple Tactics talent.
Or just waiting for the right moment before Charlie overcommits, and he's like, well, I guess I got to keep going and give my opponent more draws. That can always be the mentality behind holding Molcharmi cards.
You got to know when to hold them, when to fold them.
It looks like here we're considering normal summoning Sword Ryzeal before we go into any Ameno Habakiri no Mitsurugi plays.
Interesting. Now, he didn't special summon it, so he's not locked into rank 4s here, but often when you're playing against a Ryzeal player, you know something's up when they normal summon Sword.
Yeah, it usually kind of lends themselves to their hand being either really strong or really weak, but we know we have the Habakiri, so we definitely know it's not a weak hand.
Trying to figure out the 50-50 there. Jim does not respond in any way, allowing for the search, so we're going to grab X Ryzeal out of the deck and add it to the hand.
Ooh, and we're going to, after that effect's been activated, we're going to activate Molcharmi Fualos. So now any monster summoned from the deck will give him a draw.
The well-timed Fualos there, because again, you're right that you're kind of locked in. You've got those two monsters. You're not just going to pass on this, especially not in our YCS semifinals.
This might give up at least 1 to 2 cards over to Charlie, because unfortunately, Saji and Sword cannot make Ryzeal Detonator, but they could make Duo Drive, which then can make Detonator, and that's 2 cards.
We'll see if we get the 2 for 2 here. Does he want to give a single card to his opponent? Or at least we're going to use the X Ryzeal. And the card from the extra deck sent is going to be, could be an Eclipse Twins. Oh, but it's actually a Duo Drive.
Ooh, interesting. And here we're going to have the X effect, because we can only control level 4 monsters right now to get another Ryzeal name. Doing all this before we go for the Habakiri or for the prayers is really huge, so we can sequence this properly and not get locked out of all these powerful Ryzeal effects.
I might go back down.
Grab the Node Ryzeal from the deck there. You think there's a possibility Charlie might just put a whole bunch of defensive bodies on board? It doesn't feel quite right. And I think he's considering the Xyz summon. We've seen this before. Usually it's the Duo Drive whenever he puts those materials in the extra monster zone.
Just so we can get access to our powerful spell and trap cards for the Ryzeal deck. We're going to be adding that.
Draw first, but attach.
Yep, draw first, and then we're going to attach here using the effect of Duo Drive.
Search.
Yeah. And now we're going to use the effect here to search. That's perfectly fine, according to Jim. And I'm sure Charlie is more than okay with this.
Feels like we're going to go for Ryzeal Cross. We did manage to get 3 materials on there, so 3 minus 2 is 1. And that's just the 1 you need for Ryzeal Cross's negation effects. And there's the cross.
And we still have the prayers and the Habakiri in Charlie's hand, so we have more than enough plays to keep going. We saw Charlie loves to extend as far as possible with this deck.
I think at this point, you got to just go all in. It is just game 1. If you can take that first win, gets him that much closer to being our YCS champion.
So we got the sword. We have not specialed the sword yet this turn, so we can still do that. We just won't get the search once it's summoned.
Node Cross, Ritual Spell, Sword, and Habakiri.
Yeah, we just want to get a full understanding of all the known cards that are in Charlie's hand.
Looks like the Node Ryzeal's coming down next. Possibly, maybe not. Charlie considering his options.
I think it was just clarifying that it was in his hand.
Oh, I see, I see. We do have the field spell there. Perfect timing there. Don't want to get hit by Nibiru. We saw how powerful it was just last game.
Oh, 100%. Especially since if Charlie plans on playing into this Fulos anymore, or if he's just going to summon one Detonator and maybe the Habakiri from hand. But I imagine he wants to also have Murakumo established, and he's probably just debating the value of those 2 extra cards versus the summoning of Murakumo.
I think we are going to go ahead and add the Mitsurugi Ritual. Charlie considering his options, but slapping that card down the table nonetheless.
Is it from the hand or from the deck that we're summoning?
I summon from deck.
Ooh, we're summoning from the
Oh,
deck.
No. Yeah, deck.
Someone from deck.
Yep, summon from deck is A-okay with Jim, he said. Definitely is, because he's going to get a free draw out of this. It'll probably be the Murakumo.
Seems like a decent enough trade. Looks like another Molcharmi drawn.
Given that we still have Node and stuff in hand, that's actually a pretty good one in the form of Perulia, so on resolution, we could see that come down here.
Maybe considering the Meows.
Res anything?
Thinking on res.
Sure.
Okay, he is thinking on res, so now he's going to make that Molcharmi choice. You can only use 2 Molcharmi effects per turn, so you do have to choose. And he chooses Perulia.
And I mean, against Mitsurugi, Ryzeal, Perulia, and Fuulos seem like 2 pretty good ones.
How far is Charlie going to go? Because every time he's going to summon from those sacred spots, Jim's going to get another card.
I mean, he has to summon the sword or the node in order to get to a detonator anyway. So that's going to be at least 2 more cards added to his hand. That's 7 cards if he were to do that. Ooh, he activated Murakumo in response to the Perulia to force him to discard. He's just going to get rid of the Meows. I can't use it anyway.
All 3 Molcharmis hanging out in graveyard.
Think on cross.
Oh, that's right. We're still at resolution of Perulia, and we can use cross to negate.
Ooh.
Definitely impressive to see him think about that.
You would be giving up that material, though.
And the protection of cross in case there is a card like Nibiru, because Jim is still going to draw if he summons from the extra deck.
Oh, so he is going to use the cross effect to negate.
Oh, no. He's using the cross effect to put back 2 and draw, which means the Perulia did resolve, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, looks like it. Okay, so does that mean that Charlie's going to play a little bit more conservatively, or maybe he just doesn't care?
Yeah, I think I saw that he has a draw on Lockbird in hand, so we can always just use that to stop Jim from drawing any further. If he's
I do
worried
see
about
the draw.
Fine. He played 2, he discarded 1.
Even the judge is confused when they see 3 Molcharmis back to back to back, but no, it's just 2 activated and 1 to make sure it resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, normally it's only 2 of these things that are in the graveyard. Why is there 3?
The whole gang's here. But speaking of the whole gang, Ryzeal Detonator joining in.
And then we see another draw here. And here we see Charlie just choosing to let him have those 2 draws.
Draw.
All right, Jim starting his turn with 7 cards,
Stand
facing
by.
down a Detonator and a Murakumo, plus a cross. And that's all he knows about. Maybe a Prayers as well.
Maybe extra.
Ooh, at the start of the main phase,
How
let's
many?
banish random.
For 6.
Yep, he's declaring 6, and then he's going to shuffle up his extra deck and give it to Charlie to pick random 6 ones.
And I gotta say, the bling on Charlie's field, all the quarter-century secret rares you can eat.
Oh, very gorgeous deck for sure.
Charlie being very careful and decisive there. We got our 6 face down. Are we gonna respond here, though?
I mean, 2 cards is 2 cards, especially when his hands are already 6 other cards.
Think.
Got that draw on Lockbird. I can seal the duel right there as we draw 2.
I mean, well, in the pure variant, he could have just drawn all the cards he was going to search for anyway.
That is true.
If I want to chain.
Oh, maybe gonna chain?
Chain prayer.
Thinking about maybe that Mitsurugi prayer?
You can chain to this, and this will allow you to search for more stuff.
Chain.
Draw on Lockbird hasn't resolved yet.
Just add.
So we're just using the effect to add, which means we're not tributing anything to do so.
Think.
Charlie's trying to maybe think about a potential Ash Blossom, or he's trying to maybe mind game Jim into thinking he has an Ash Blossom. All options, because we know that Jim knows he has a Node in hand and 1 unknown card.
Well, like after.
Ooh, and there we see the Wosu. It is in his deck. Mitsurugi no Miko Wosu. That card has a really unique effect in order to summon itself by tributing not only a monster you control, but also a monster your opponent controls.
Kind of an in-archetype Kaiju, if I say so myself.
I think that is an out to detonator as far as I'm concerned, because it's not an effect, right? It's just a summoning condition, so Cross cannot stop it.
That's correct, because you can special summon this card by tributing 1 other reptile monster from your hand and 1 monster your opponent controls.
You can tribute from the hand as well?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
I'll tribute.
Oh, speak of the devil, here it is. We're going to tribute the Habakiri from hand and the detonator from Charlie's board.
I don't know what else it does.
Oh, he's like, I got to read this. Give me 1 second, bro. This Wosu's about to cook me, I think.
Yeah, Charlie did not include that, so we didn't know what it does because it didn't make the cut. But maybe this monster's all right.
I believe the on-field effect has something to do with, like, if it's tributed, right?
Yeah, if tributed, you can discard 1 card, and if you do, add this card to your hand.
I see. So basically, it can just replace itself. That's cool.
Also allows you to keep the
Doesn't
tribute
actually
cycle going.
Contribute, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
So that clears the detonator, but we still have the cross as well as the Murakumo to deal with. But I don't think Jim necessarily cares about the Raigeki effect. It just depends on how much he can play through. Remember, he is under Droll and Lockbird, so even though he did tribute that Habakiri, it won't be able to activate its effect because you need to be able to search and summon that card in order to bring it back.
Yeah, I saw him leaning a little bit towards the Flawless. I think we're about to normal summon it as an additional level 4 monster.
Normal summon?
All right, normal summon Fuwalos. Is this a...
Oh, we are doing some interesting stuff here because we said there were some prizes in Jim's deck list. He's link summoning.
I'm gonna look at Graves with this one.
I think we are going to see it.
It looks like he's declared a Link 2, and that's going to be
Like target
Reptilian Echidna. Woo! This is a really cool card. I believe it has an effect like all Reptilians do to make monsters 0 attack, if I'm correct.
That's correct. So if Link summoned, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, change its attack to 0. And then just during your main phase, if your opponent controls a monster with 0 attack, which is the whole Reptilian like strat, basically,
Wait, it's like
you can add
change
reptile
this
monsters with different
general
names from your
attack to
deck to your
0?
hand. However,
Ooh.
we're not going to really be able to do much with that considering the fact that Droll and Lockbird is in effect.
Right. So in my mind,
Yeah,
Jim's
I mean-
is just showing this to try to force the Ryzeal cross. Because if he just goes, make Murakumo 0 attack, go battle phase, he can just clear it right now or force it and then play after that.
It's not a giant monster, but I'll tell you, 200 attack is bigger than 0.
Uh-huh. Well, and actually, it would have 100 attack, funny enough, because of the
Oh,
duo
because
drive.
the duo drive.
But that's still more than 0. It's 100 more than 0 to be exact.
Big numbers. I mean, 100's a big number, kind of.
Yeah.
Not so much in Yu-Gi-Oh, but yeah, we'll get it done.
It'll get the job done. Ooh, and there we see the Imperm on the Echidna. Can't let that happen.
So saving the Ryzeal cross negation effect for later. Let's see what else we got here.
I think he's eyeing that Mitsurugi ritual in his hand, but again, he's got to be a little careful with this cross. But there we see the declaration of Habakiri's hand effect to summon from the deck and then tribute.
Does this do something when it's tributed?
No.
To my knowledge, Echidna does not have a tributed effect, but he's just like, okay, hold on, you summoned this card for a reason. I just want to make sure I try to suss out why.
Well, would have been able to get some searches on, but not for Droll and Lockbird. But another way to search cards out of your deck, just don't add them to your hand.
Yeah, Charlie's like, how
this
important
guy.
is this effect?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Not like to summon it, so.
Yeah, the summon. I can only summon it once per turn.
Yeah, just clarifying how Wosu works. She's like, this card just got rid of my detonator. I don't like it. I want to make sure this can't surprise me again later.
Jim just educating. Hey, did you know there are other Mitsurugi monsters? Yeah, there are.
Turns out. So here we're going to have the Habakiri's effect resolve here. It's going to get Kusanagi, and we're going to potentially tribute that here to get back a Mitsurugi spell card from the graveyard. This can give us prayers access
Kusanagi
again.
effect, when it's distributed, target prayers.
Every duelist kind of has to know how to play against their own weakness, right? The Malice monsters have to know against, well, Artifact Lancia, and here, Mitsurugi is doing a great job
haven't ritualed,
living through
right?
Droll and Lockbird.
I have not.
Jim at the wheel, and he knows exactly how to turn things around.
And Charlie just recognizing, okay, you haven't ritual yet, right? Okay, does he have the ritual spell in hand? I don't believe Charlie knows that Jim has it, but I believe we at home do know that he has it.
We do. You kind of have to sense it, though. Why is he doing this? He's probably got the good.
He's definitely trying to bait out this cross pretty hard. That's definitely, I think, Jim's line of thinking here is like, if I can get cross off the board, that means if I summon Murakumo, I wipe his board.
Charlie's been under pressure before, but let's see how he responds to this Mitsurugi ritual.
Amen.
We're going to use the Ama here to force Jim to discard a card, otherwise this card is negated.
Oh, that's a great choice. That pre-preparation of the rites isn't going to do much.
Under Droll and Lockbird, definitely not.
Ritual Raven eating well, but not today. Oh, he's going to keep it, I think. Wow. Getting rid of the woes, or excuse me, Adamasa instead.
Seeing the pre-prep and rights means that Jim is definitely playing Mitsurugi Mirror. And there we see the ritual, summoning the Murakumo, tributing the Habakiri. Again, we won't be able to use its effect when tributed, but we will be able to use Murakumo on summon. But at resolution, cross can just negate this effect, and I wonder if Charlie is going to go for it now, or if he thinks this is just, again, one giant bait of Jim.
I love the pace of this duel. It's a lot of questions from Jim. Hey, Charlie, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And for the most part, Charlie has chosen just not to spend the Ryzeal cross effect at resolution.
It's really important when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! To make sure you plan your interruptions. They can't just go willy-nilly on the first thing that happens. They got to be on the things that you think will cause the most impact of the turn. And I think Charlie is recognizing, if I let this Murakumo resolve, That's not going to be good for me. So we're going to cross negate at resolution. Do we have a response from Jim? I don't believe so.
Nothing in the open game state, so I think we're going to go back to playing a few more cards.
Battle?
And we're going straight to battle phase here because we can clear their duo drive using our Murakumo, or we could attack and crash the Murakumos and then force the effects to activate. That could be interesting.
Certainly a good way to try to deal with it. The risk with getting rid of the Ryzeal duo drive is it can just get recycled anyway with the Ryzeal cross. But here we go in the battle phase.
It's just a question of either do you attack duo drive or do you crash the Murakumos. I think the
I think just in there.
yeah. So we're still in battle phase, but I think Jim is just going like, okay, what's the scariest thing?
I don't know that he ever declared battle phase, but he had that hand motion that we all as Yu-Gi-Oh players know. He's thinking about attacking.
I'll crash.
Oh,
It looks like we are.
We are going to attempt to crash the Murakumos. We have the Ultra Rare going up against the QCR. They'll both go to the graveyard, though, if this attack is successful.
Yeah, you don't get extra stats for the rarity. It just looks really cool.
You got how many you have?
I believe we have that. I believe that set card's a known prayers, right? So Charlie's just thinking, okay, if I tribute my Murakumo, I can dodge this and then Raigeki his board. That feels pretty good if that is the card I believe it is.
And I think it is. I just got a quick flash of it now, so has Jim.
Ooh, and there
Dominus Impulse.
on the Mitsurugi prayers.
Opponent controls a card. Locked out of light monsters. It's the one privilege you get for running the pure Mitsurugi build.
It is prayers or a card you can impulse. It contains an effect to summon a monster, right?
I believe.
Yes,
yeah, we're good.
Maybe it's just a question here of how this resolves. So now the battle will be redeclared, and now we're going to swing attack duo drive. That'll deal 700 damage to Charlie.
So Jim showing pretty well in his first duel on the feature match stage, able to get through all of the resources that Charlie had, including various negation effects and some big bodies on the field. But now he's just got his Reptilian, Echidna, and his Murakumo no Mitsurugi, but not much else.
And I do believe we have the prayers. And then we're going to swing Bridges 200 because why not?
Hey, it's 200 now that Ryzeal duo drives out. You got to take the damage you can get. This is single elimination.
We're going to set a card that I believe is the known pairs of Jim. And now we have pretty much the same board that Charlie had, but no Ryzeal duo drive or detonator.
Big follow-up in the hand, but not much help there. The pre-preparation on the right is certainly powerful, but not during your opponent's turn, and hopefully you'll even make it to your next turn. We'll have to see.
And like you mentioned earlier, Steven, this Ryzeal cross, being able to put back that detonator is, I think, going to be really huge.
In this game, correct? Because I went prayers, tribute, summon bag. Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, we're just clarifying here that the once per duel effect was not activated for Charlie, but I believe it was activated for Jim. Always interesting to keep track of those once per duel effects.
Crazy set of turns so far. It's only been 2 turns, wild as it may seem.
Yeah, and right now I think the only interaction that Charlie knows Jim has access to is this Murakumo effect to Raigeki the board, but it could be pretty interesting.
He impulsed it. Yeah.
Judges just verifying that the special summon effect was activated, and that's what was stopped by Dominus Impulse, and yep, play continues.
Because he was under Droll too, he couldn't even have activated the effect to add from hand anyway.
That is correct. Roll and Lockbird affects both players.
This will be interesting because we know that Charlie's hand had Node at least in it, and Jim knows that too. And here's that cross, like I mentioned, going to be able to put back that detonator, even though we have one. Doesn't matter. I can get it right back.
At first you don't succeed, try again.
Oh, actually going to start off with the Habakiri, which I believe was drawn for turn, and we're going to chain the effect of Murakumo to force Charlie to discard a card. Otherwise, that effect will be negated.
I think I see a Node in the hand. Can't quite see what the other card is. Charlie take a look at the graveyard to sort of forecast. I think he's... No, maybe not. Gonna keep going. Decide to let that go, and then I guess just discard the Ame no Habakiri no Mitsurugi to do that effect instead.
That's right. It is simply a reveal to activate the effect. Therefore, it's still in your hand, so you can use it as Murakumo discard target. But now, if he goes for a Kusanagi, he can't ritual summon from the hand unless he has another Habakiri in hand, is I think the thing Jim was going for there. Trying to force extra resources out of Charlie if he wants to continue playing this turn. And if he forces him to overextend into this potential Murakumo Raigeki the board, that could be pretty big. He gave him his graveyard to cut. Adorable. Adorable. Adorable.
It is a long day, duelists. But both these guys still hanging in here after many, many rounds. Note the win record. They've already done 14 rounds of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card game over 2 days. Speaking of rounds, looks like the node, maybe
Is that going to
not.
be a normal summon node?
I think so.
Oh, no, we have an Xyz in the graveyard. It'll definitely be a special.
Okay.
This could be pretty big. Basically, Jim might like have to decide whether or not stopping an Xyz play or a Mitsurugi play is better for the Murakumo.
Sure.
At this point, Detonator isn't that threatening because the Murakumo is just stronger than it. And so as long as Jim doesn't activate any effects, I don't know what Detonator can do to get over it.
Yeah, patience is going to be the name of the game for sure. Obviously, there's a little bit of damage that Charlie is sort of guaranteed by attacking the Reptilian Echidna.
Yep, so here we have the pay 800 effective prayers to summon back Saji. Saji's effect on summon will then search for another Mitsurugi spell card, which I'm assuming is going to be Ritual, or it could be another prayers. One benefit of playing the pure Mitsurugi deck is that you can play 3 copies of Ritual pretty happily, but the Ryzeal one doesn't always play that many, so Charlie might not have any access to that card. Yeah, he's just going to grab a second prayer, so I bet you he would grab a Ritual if he could.
Kind of a neat way to find out the question of which of these decks performs better, just pit them against each other. Pure or Ryzeal.
Ooh, and there we have a normal summon of Star Ryzeal.
Star Ryzeal kind of not as prevalent in this tournament as I was expecting, but still here nonetheless. Was normal summon, so doesn't get that special summon effect, so no setting of any Ryzeal cards.
One, do that.
Keep going. I'm just gonna check the
I'm just checking your graveyard.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we're just making sure that the life points are correct, it looks like, on the judges' side, because a lot of paying of life points have happened. I know we're used to it for Malice, but we're not so used to it in other decks.
Now you do take 800 damage every now and again in a Mitsurugi mirror.
Yeah, I think Jim here is just contemplating whether he has to use the Murakumo now to deny access to the Detonator.
Update prayers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, here we go.
Uh,
Contributing.
yeah, that's fine.
So now we'll be able to add
Now
pay
we'll
800
apply
and
both
some.
effects.
Yep.
Yep, so we're going to add to the hand.
To apply both effects too.
Probably going to look for something like a Saji for follow-up the next turn. And then we're going to summon back by paying 800 life points to the Kusanagi. This can get us back at the prayers if we want to, or we can get the ritual. Now we're just setting our chain links here between Kusanagi as well as Murakumo. Very important in case you want to chain block stuff.
2 Kusanagi target prayers.
Yep, so we're going to add the prayers back with Kusanagi as chain link 2, and then chain link 1 is going to be Murakumo.
Special.
We're going to summon back and destroy all monsters on Charlie's board.
Great
Special
timing.
research.
Keep him out of any Xyz summons, especially when you see the sort of desperation play of normal summoning Star Ryzeal.
Ooh, and there we see the Magatama coming out of Jim, another new
Yeah,
card
trio
from
with
Alliance
top,
Insight.
face up. Or
It's a quick play spell that allows him to tribute and destroy cards, basically. But it can also let him
It's
ritual summon.
prayers, This and then, and what else?
you know, prayers, Saji, and now Magatama.
Mhm.
And then on a new chain, Murakumo.
So Charlie knows what to do, goes ahead and clears off his field.
But now Charlie can just go cross, add back the Detonator and Duo Drive. He can go Node, then summon those back out. But oh, it's looking like he's choosing to go for cross to put back Star Ryzeal and X Ryzeal. He must not have that many Ryzeal names still in deck, which is why this is very important to him.
Well, if he gets an Ice Ryzeal later, that Star Ryzeal could be huge.
I mean, this feels like an Exciton Gambit if I've ever seen one. And then I think he just drew an Ash Blossom and Joy Spring off of that Ryzeal cross, which could be a very key point of interaction during Jim's turn. Up. Good job on both players here, keeping track of life points. 800 was paid by those prayers. So I believe we have 55 to 72.
Keep track of mine.
Definitely got to follow certain policy guidelines, writing it down. Node Ryzeal being special in the field.
Yep, we're going to special sword here because we do have an Xyz monster in the graveyard. We can attempt to use its effect to reborn another Ryzeal monster by sending a card from hand or field to the graveyard.
So 2 cards in hand is pretty rough. Either has to give up Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, or he has to give up the Mitsurugi Prayers. It looks like Prayers is going to be the choice Charlie makes.
Yeah, that's a little rough because it gets rid of all of his follow-up with the Mitsurugi cards.
Follow-up is important, but also so is having a turn. So we will see Sword Ryzeal special summon, and we're going to go into Xyz summon into maybe King of the Feral Imps, maybe Ryzeal Duo Drive. Trying to think about both choices, but Duo Drive takes it.
Yep, another Duo Drive coming down from Charlie. That's going to be his second one that we've seen this game. We're going to attach the other Duo Drive that is in the graveyard to it to get as many materials as possible. This will allow us to get stuff like Sword and Ice.
So lots of materials here. Maybe trying to set up an Eclipse Twins to get the detonator back out at some point.
There could be a world where he tries to like out it himself by like crashing into the Murakumo and then use that to get back detonator. But the question is, how does he out the actual cards? Because if it goes back to Jim's turn and he has a gigantic 2,200 attack point monster that he can use to just sort of tribute the field because he can just add back Wosu and stuff from the graveyard, that might be more than enough to just out the detonator again.
Charlie's challenge has got to figure out one way or the other, or we are going into game 2.
He's definitely got to be careful to watch how many cards he has in hand, because we saw in day 1, if your hand gets too low, Murakumo can make it very hard to resolve effects.
Targets for twins.
So we are going to send Eclipse Twins to the graveyard, and we got plenty of Xyz monsters there. So we're going to go ahead and take a Duo Drive and a Ryzeal Detonator.
Yep, so like you said earlier, we are going to be sending that Eclipse Twins off X to be able to access the detonator that's in the graveyard. No need to cross it back if you can just summon.
No, I just went Node and I normal summoned good.
Yep, we went Node and we normal summon Star. Those are the only Ryzeal monsters we have used this turn before this X'd. Good job on Charlie just to make sure both players are aware of what he's done so far.
Yeah.
And then we have the effect to attach. And if I remember correctly, Duo Drive reduces for every material attached to it, not to all Xyz monsters.
That is correct, and so it should be up 100, down 100.
Which currently is not enough for this Duo. Actually, it does mean the detonator can crash with the Murakumo.
31 to 31, and it could use its protection
72.
effect to attach material.
100%. So there we have the special of Sword, but I wonder what's the number of cards here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for
72,
Jim, and then I think we have
72.
5.
Only summon from prayers once.
We're going for Dugaris. Doesn't look like it's Exton Knight's turn.
Like we saw in his first match against Steven Santoli, Charlie loves to extend as much as possible. This will bring back his Murakumo, which is really huge considering he had to get rid of his prayers earlier.
I can't read the guards.
So with each Dugaris effect, you're going to get something good and then skip something later.
Yep. So if you draw 2 and discard 1, you're going to lose your next draw phase. I believe if you special summon, you're going to lose your next battle phase.
Actually, the special summon is the next main phase 1.
Ooh, so you're going to go straight into battle phase. That makes more sense.
It's going to be like a wonky duel if we get
26.
too far, but look at all the attack power in the field. It may not last that long.
Yeah, so we had 31 plus 26 plus 11. That might just be... Ooh, no, we have 7,200 life points. So that's just about enough for Jim to keep playing here.
Dugaris is little.
You can normal summon Star.
Oh, no, I did.
Yep, we do not
I
have
checked
that.
the warning, yeah, it's fine.
So procedural minor warning, Charlie already knows.
No. Special game.
Yeah, but we did not go into battle phase
Come on,
yet. We
give
just summoned. And then we just special the sword from his hand. We saw him earlier as a really good, powerful
Add it
going
back.
second tool.
I can discard a card for effect and add it back to my hand.
Just clarifying here that the Wosu could add himself back to hand now that he's been tributed, but only if Jim wants to pay the cost of discarding a card from his hand.
I got a peek at Charlie's hand, so I know why he asked that question. He's holding on to a Mulcharmy Meows. So thinking about, oh, okay, there's something in the graveyard. Maybe I want to activate Mulcharmy Meows in order to draw a few cards.
Yep, and then we see the pay 800 effect of prayers summoning back out the Wosu
72.
as we search for Aramasa.
Oh, okay.
Aramasu, yeah.
Aramasa, yeah. Main phase.
That was all in the standby phase, it looks like.
Back to summon from hand.
Now we're going to activate Ritual to summon from hand. That's a very competent summon from hand from Jim, too.
Sure.
We're going to summon Ame no Murakumo no Mitsurugi by tributing Saji, and my assumption is going to be Kusanagi, so that way we can get the prayers back? Question mark?
Yeah, the rain clouds are gathering here. We're going to go ahead and send Kusanagi to the graveyard as well.
And having Murakumo out before you do any other plays is going to be really cool, because as we saw in Game 1, that can force your opponent to discard if they want to play any monster non-engine, things like Ash Blossom, things like Nibiru, things like Droll and Lockbird to try to stymie you from playing.
So now your hand is prayers. Then you have Aramasu in the random.
Yes.
Yep, just clarifying the unknowns. We're going to get Great Purification, the Mitsurugi trap card. Not a thing you see in every single Mitsurugi deck, but this one definitely is going to be playing it for the pure version.
Resolution.
Nothing.
Nothing on resolution. Jim is feeling very unfettered now. He's going to keep going. Hasn't used his normal summon yet. It looks like he's going to spend it on this normal summon of Aramasa.
Normal summon. Back to add.
So Aramasa hit the field, going to add a monster from the deck to the hand. Charlie hasn't done much with that Mulcharmy Meows. Obviously, there's not really a good time to activate it right now as the opponent hasn't flagged down. They're going to special summon from the graveyard, but other than that, there's not really a lot of points of interaction in his hand.
Yeah, and getting that Habakiri is going to be really huge for Jim here. He can both use its effect and then use the prayers again to summon from the
Summon
deck.
from deck.
Ooh, and this is really interesting, tributing the Murakumo so we can get the free value, and we're going to get Futsu, and this is definitely not a card you see in every single Mitsurugi Ryzeal deck, but one you will happily see in the pure
You gotta wood off
Mitsurugi.
this?
I
Habakir?
didn't have a cure, yeah.
Sure.
Yep, and here we're going to be using the Futsu's effect on Summon to get the Magatama.
I'm really this again. It's a pop, right?
Certainly don't see the Magatama every day.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, we're adding the Magatama off the Murakumo's effect to summon itself back and adding a
Yeah,
Mitsurugi card.
On ritual double engrave.
So cool to see the pure Mitsurugi deck get this far. Not to say anything bad about those who have mixed it with Ryzeal, Fiendsmith, etc.
This,
But
Habakiri,
it's nice to see
Prayers,
that the
Trap?
strategy can
Right, oh,
stand
yeah.
on its
Yeah,
own.
okay,
Well, I'd
yeah.
say 2 legs, but they are snake monsters.
And as Jim showed you, Charlie knows every single card in Jim's hand, and it's basically the full Mitsurugi cards. And there we see IP Masquerade coming down. That's going to be a really nice extra bit of interaction that he has access to now because of all these extra monsters. He's going to set
And how
3
big are you
powerful
gonna
spell and trap cards and end his turn. To my knowledge, we know all of those cards. It's Prayers plus
Yeah.
Purification
and
plus
Magatama.
So we have a pop, a quick effect, ritual summon, and a negate.
It's a pretty strong field, so Jim may bring this to a game 3 after all.
It just depends here. Charlie feels maybe as confident as he needs to. He has a full 6-card hand, but like you said, that Meows is kind of just eating it up. But we're going to activate Meows on our own turn
Okay.
because
Yeah,
we
that's-
imagine.
It's a great idea, though, because you know your opponent has the ability to tribute cards, get those effects, and special summon them back, so the Meows could get additional advantage. Seems like it's forced things out now. So we are going to tribute the Futsu no Mitama no Mitsurugi.
And Murakumo. A Futsu.
Yep, and here we're going to use the Futsu effect as tribute, so the Meows will not be negated, and the Futsu will be able to summon itself back out. And here we could add something like that we would want to tribute, but we're just going to add a Prayers for some follow-up. Makes the most sense to me.
Pop and prayers.
Yep, just clarifying, we have Prayers plus Magatama. We do have still access to the Murakumo no Mitsurugi and the IP Masquerade, which could be enough disruption to keep Charlie off of his Ryzeal cards, but can it stop the Mitsurugi cards?
All right, we're going to start with the X Ryzeal, and let's see which card goes to the graveyard. It's going to be Myriologic Aggregator targeting the IP Masquerade, also sort of asking the question, you going to do it or not?
Yeah, this almost will always force it out because if he targeted Murakumo, he's like, yeah, that's fine, I can just tribute it later and still get the effect. We are going to chain IP. We're going to send the Murakumo, it looks like, and go into, I would assume, an SP Little Knight, or we could go into, because we are playing a ritual deck, Dynamundo is on the table. But no, it's going to be the SP Little Knight here.
Definitely thought about it for a moment there. Let's go ahead and resolve this card effect before SP Little Knight does something different. Important to notice that it can't be destroyed by card effects, something that doesn't come up as much this format, but definitely will when there's Detonator and the Amane Murakumo no Mitsurugi effect.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. You can essentially, chain to a Detonator, and then Detonator cannot chain pop the Little Knight because it just won't get destroyed.
Well, it could try, but it's not going to do that much.
So there we see SP banishing the X Ryzeal after Charlie was able to add a Ryzeal name from deck to hand. Still have not normal summoned.
Jim keeping the opponent at bay.
I think Charlie does not have the freedom to go for the Mitsurugi card, so he's going to have to rely on his rank 4 engine to try to break through this board. But uh-oh, did I just see a Called by the Grave flash in Charlie's hand?
I do see it.
That could be huge for that Murakumo.
Normal summoning Ice Ryzeal. We know that Star Ryzeal's in the deck too. We're going to go ahead and SP Little Knight here, try to banish both.
No response.
No response.
Eating up the normal summon's pretty huge because now even if you special a Sword Ryzeal, you still need to extend even further than that. And we know Jim has a pop in the form of Magatama, which can still keep Charlie off rank 4s.
So looks like Sword Ryzeal is what we sort of pre-selected from the deck. Thinking for a second, Charlie checks his hand. Every decision counts here, but we are going to go for Sword Ryzeal.
Are you using the effect?
Yeah, to the effect.
Oh, 2. Target.
Yep, so here we see the effect of Futsu targeting Kusanagi to summon, I believe?
Target.
Or Sanji, depending on which one he wants to target.
Kusanagi.
No response.
Yep, we're going to summon that, and then Sword Ryzeal is going to search. My assumption is he has to search for Node here because that's the last name that can probably get him access to a rank 4 play.
Definitely has to get out of trouble somehow. There is that Called by the Grave, but I guess we slept on that with no response. Trying to hold on that Called by the Grave to use it for just the right moment.
And the follow-up that Jim is going to gain here by using this Kusanagi is going to be really huge because he can add back that Ritual, and now he has Prayers plus Ritual in his hand for the following turn, and a Habakiri. He has everything he needs to go, all right, I was able to stymie you to the point where I still had my turn, and now let's just go ahead and break your board. Oh, we're actually going to add back the Wosu here. That's even better.
I love that each time Jim is taking these cards back, he's not using something he can use for this turn. Instead, he is building his hand for next turn. Now he's got Prayers, and he's got the Wosu for that double tribute to get rid of the Ryzeal detonator if it shows its head.
And he still has Magatama, which means he can use like the Magatama tribute, the Futsu to summon the Habakiri from his hand, which is going to be really cool to see. So here we have the special of Sword because we do control a Ryzeal monster.
Yeah, only ice.
Back target.
The way this is going, I wouldn't be surprised if we took the Ritual, but instead it looks like we're going to go for Amine Monokuma and Mitsurugi.
Ooh, we're going to target that with Futsu, I believe, to add it back to hand? Or no, I think it's going to summon it, actually. If I'm not mistaken. Because we're using the Futsu on the special summon of Sword. And oh, there's the Call by the Grave targeting the Murakumo. But we have the Prayers, which we can use to summon it back out.
Wow.
As well as add from the deck. That is a really heads-up play from the Gym there, using the Futsu and then following it up with the Prayers to play around any shenanigans that Charlie could have had.
Still gets it back out. Wow, just incredible.
Murakuma on summon.
And then the on-summon effect of Murakumo is going to go ahead and blow up both of those Sword Ryzeals. And now, I don't know if Charlie has any ways to keep going with Ryzeal cards.
Maybe he could get an Ice Ryzeal out, but that's about it. He's got so few cards left in his hand.
And remember, Jim, I don't believe, has used Murakumo's effect yet, so we can force him to go -2 on that Ice Ryzeal, and we're just going to see Charlie scoop it up. All right, it appears that Charlie has chosen to go first in this final top 4 match. We have 12 minutes on the clock. That first one was kind of a grind. Let's see if these players can get a decisive victor.
No, very strong hand I saw from Jim. He does have a pre-preparation of the rights, but he also has pre-preparation rights twice, so it's got to stack it up there.
So there we see the starting of Saji. Even though Charlie is playing a much smaller Mitsurugi count than someone like Jim is, we've seen him start with a Mitsurugi monster so many times today. Either it's Aramasa or it's Saji.
Yeah, he kind of has to reach harder for the Ryzeal part of his strategy, but once that kicks off too, he's got legs to run away with this duel. But for now, we're just going to start off with Saji and grab out the Mitsurugi Prayers from the deck.
If I see that Draglexion again, I'm going to go crazy. That was awesome.
Man, it was insane. I cannot believe we have gotten to see so much cool combos, so much cool tech this format.
Ooh, and there we see the Prayers tributing the Habakiri from hand, not using its effect because I think we drew the Saji, which is normally the best card to summon off of its effect for the once per duel. So he's like, why waste it? I can use it again later to get back my follow-up.
We know he's got multiple copies too, so he may just choose to jump into that with the Habakiri effect later. But for now, going back in, taking a look. Looks like Kusanagi, another Habakiri in the hand. Some kind of trap card, can't quite make it out.
Oh, watch him like side into the Mitsurugi trap. He's like, yeah, that was a really good card. Let me put it in mine. That'd be funny.
Thanks for the tip, bro. Looks like it's going to be the Amine Murakumo.
Gonna be added to hand.
Can I appeal that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll appeal.
Oh, we got ourselves
Because
a little bit of an
play took
appeal.
both seconds, you didn't give him the slow play.
So things getting hot here as we continue Battle City, but again, you do have the right to appeal.
Summon that after.
Yeah, I'm trying to summon it, but
I guess, yeah, resolve the effect and then it'd be.
Okay, so we were just having a clarification here on the resolution of Prayers because he had the target in hand that he wanted to summon.
I see, I see.
Yep, so we went and pay the energy life points to go down to 7,200.
okay,
So
okay.
we can't continue.
Sure.
Did you get the Kusanagi to the field?
Did you stop it?
Currently paused, yeah.
And time is paused, so we're just gonna take a little breather here again. Even if you're a champion, you gotta work for it, so you gotta make sure to exercise your rights.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe he could, but now we're gonna jump back into the game here.
Yep, like I mentioned, the Prayers from the graveyard was added back thanks to the Kusanagi's effect on resolution, and now I believe we're activating the effect of Habakiri because it was tributed to add a Mitsurugi card and then summon itself back out. Oh, no, just add a Mitsurugi card because I don't believe it was properly summoned. So we can still just add, though.
And I think we're gonna add the ritual and then activate the ritual.
Yep, and then we have the Murakumo coming down by tributing the cards from the deck.
What happened now?
Oh, yeah. This is the Mitsurugi Prayer.
Am
Yeah, I
I?
did out of Kusanagi.
But that is can't. I'm not gonna say we don't need more time, but like just kind of.
Got to keep it cool under the pressure there. Charlie's still just making sure that his duel is kept clean and integral.
Oh, 100%. So here we have the tributing of another Habakiri from the graveyard, from the deck to the graveyard to bring out this Murakumo from the hand.
Yeah, probably gonna go back in.
And now the question I have is, does Charlie have any Ryzeal cards? Even though we know he can bridge with things like Dragluxion, does he want to in this board texture? I'm not necessarily sure.
Well, he may take a note from his opponent just saying, hey, I mean, pure Ryzeal, or excuse me, pure Mitsurugi may be good, but I did see him go for the Duo Drive, so we're thinking here.
He's definitely XE summoning, we know that.
Yes.
And yeah, Duo Drive would give him those Ryzeal cards in case he doesn't have any already, which could be super huge here. We're going to get the effect automatically activated here. We're going to go ahead and search for those 2 Ryzeal cards. It was uninteracted with by Jim here. We're going to get Cross, it looks like, which is usually a really good one.
We're going to go for the Cross, and it will be supported also by introducing another Sword Ryzeal.
We have already used our normal summon, I believe, for Charlie, so things like Ice become a little less powerful, but things like X are still really good.
Really, really good. Nobody has ever said that X Ryzeal is a bad card, that's for sure.
And did I just get a little flash of Harpy's Featherstorm in Charlie's hand?
I mean, you definitely would have access to it technically if you Xyz summon a Winged Beast, whether it's Daigusto Emerald or maybe Castella Skyblast from Escotier. I mean, certainly not too surprising, but that level of surprise this late in the tournament?
We love the side deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's all I'll say about that, if that is in fact a card from Charlie's side deck.
You definitely get the full anime arc with the side deck, right? You beat me the first time. We'll meet each other again, like in 3 minutes. But
Yes, and this time I'll be ready. So here we see the XZ summon here of X and Sword. I wonder what he's going to go to. And oh my gosh, there's the Castell. And look at Jim's face. He's like, okay.
I was dumbfounded before. I am even more dumbfounded now.
All right, we're going to start our main phase 1. And it looks like we have Extravagance. If you hear me tensing up, it's because I think a Harpy Featherstorm is about to be flipped up. And it's going to be a little crazy.
Yeah, the crowd clapping there. They know what's going on.
Yep, so here we see
I'm
that.
ready, I'm in.
And even if I didn't know that that was a card in Charlie's hand, summoning Castell when your opponent has no monsters in play is very telling, I think.
Yeah. Any duelist who made it this far in the tournament's got to know what's going on.
Yep, so there we see the discard of pre-prep to satisfy the Murakumo to still activate this extra and draw 2. On resolution, Charlie doesn't have anything.
And Charlie played it close to the chest, by the way. Wants to have Jim waste a few cards or play it in a little bit.
Here we're just debating here as the best way to start here. I did see the Habakiri in Jim's hand, and we're going to be leading with that effect, the once per duel to summon and tribute.
Charlie taking a look at his cards.
All right, it looks good to me. We're going to go ahead and resolve that Habakiri to summon and tribute either from the board or the hand. We're going to get Aramasa and then immediately tribute it off and activate the effect. And there it is, the Harpy's Featherstorm being flipped up because we control the Castell. No monster effects are going to be able to be activated and resolved for Jim. But because he waited for the Habakiri to be resolved, that means no more once per duel effects. This duel really heads up from Charlie here on holding back just a little bit. So we see the prayers. I wonder if that's in response to the Featherstorm or if it's...
No, it seems like it resolved. It's already in the graveyard.
I agree, yeah.
But wow, I mean, you know, usually we'll see that sometimes in a Primite deck, right? You might bring out a Winged Beast, but this shows that this combo of cards, very small package, by the way. You just kind of have to hard draw it, but it gets it done.
With things like Prosperity and Cross, there are lots of ways to like kind of draw cards in Charlie's deck, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has the room for something like this, especially given how many rank 4 Winged Beasts there are. We are going to go ahead and get the Aramasa. Yes. Fun fact, I believe the Miko can still summon itself because it's a summoning condition and not an effect. So that could still tribute some of the powerful cards on Charlie's board.
And the Wosu itself also is a summoning condition, so we could clear something out. We are going to go in Wosu, one from the hand. Oh, maybe not. We think we're going to pre-prep now.
Yeah, we were just revealing the known cards that we have in hand to Charlie to make sure he has awareness of that. So
good looking out.
Pre-prep will be able to get us Mitsurugi Murakumo here, and then it might get Mirror, because that's the only one that references the cards by name. That's
references all 3, so pre-prep really heads up play for this particular deck, because you can just have anything.
Oh, Mirror, yeah.
Yeah, we got Mirror plus Murakumo. We still have not normal summoned as Charlie, which could be pretty huge.
All right, so Jim continuing his turn. And activating the ritual.
Yeah, we just can't activate monster effects. We can still summon them just fine. So they see the tributing of the Habakiri to summon the Murakumo from hand. And there we see the tributing of the Kusanagi in hand, as well as the potential tribute of the Murakumo. But if we tribute our opponent's Murakumo, they will be able to activate it. We're just going to go ahead and tribute the Castel instead. Imagine if he had Wosu in hand and then just like immediately tributed the Castel. That would have been pretty funny because you can't respond with Harpy's Featherstorm at that point.
Would have been good to do on that main phase 1, but just not available. We had to start off with that Pot of Extravagance. But we are going to go ahead and flip over the Mitsurugi prayers, tributing the Amane Murakumo no Mitsurugi.
Yep, this is going to force out some interaction from Jim if he has any, because if this Murakumo gets to come back and summon itself, but oh, there's the Dominus Impulse!
Wow.
We do control dual drive and play, but we are going to summon back out.
Crowd going wild for it.
Oh, and there it
there's
is.
The hand